Imam Al-Ghazali, the scholar who walked away from everything and found God. In a time when knowledge was power, when scholars were revered like kings, one man had it all: fame, fortune, brilliance, influence. They called him Hujjatul Islam, the proof of Islam. And yet, one day, he walked away, left his books, his students, his wealth, his glory. Why? Because he realized he knew everything except one thing: certainty. This is the story of Imam Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali, the scholar who conquered the world of intellect and then abandoned it to search for God.
The Rise. Imam Al-Ghazali was born in the year 1058 in the Persian city of Tus, located in what is today northeastern Iran. He was the second son of a poor wool spinner. His father was a devout man, but had little wealth. Before his death, he entrusted his sons to a Sufi friend, hoping they would receive not just food, but guidance. From the start, Abu Hamid displayed extraordinary brilliance. He devoured books. He memorized texts. He mastered Arabic grammar, logic, jurisprudence, and theology, all before the age of 20. He went on to study under the legendary jurist Imam Al-Juwayni in Nishapur, where he was given the nickname the Sea of Knowledge by his teacher. At just 33 years old, he was invited to Baghdad by the powerful Seljuk vizier Nizam al-Mulk to head the new Nizamiyya University, one of the most prestigious institutions in the Islamic world. He taught thousands, he debated scholars, he authored books. In Baghdad, Al-Ghazali stood at the summit of Islamic scholarship. But the higher he rose, the emptier he felt.
The crisis. Though outwardly he was the embodiment of success, inwardly he was drowning in doubt. He began to question everything. What was the purpose of all his knowledge? What was the sincerity of his actions? Was he truly serving God or just his ego? He wrote in his autobiography, "I examined my motives and found that they were driven by the desire for prestige and recognition, not by a sincere longing for truth." His prayers felt mechanical, his soul dry. He couldn't find peace, no matter how much he taught, debated, or wrote. Then suddenly, everything broke. While delivering a lecture one day, his tongue froze. He couldn't speak. His body trembled. His students panicked. Doctors were called. But he knew this was not physical. This was the scream of a soul craving escape. He wrote, "God sealed my tongue as a mercy."
Walking away. In 1095, Imam Al-Ghazali made a shocking decision. He abandoned his post at the Nizamiyya. He gave up his salary, status, and security. Disguised as a traveler, he left Baghdad. He told no one where he was going. Even his family didn't know. He began a journey that would last over 10 years, not across countries, but through the soul. He wandered through Damascus, Jerusalem, Mecca, Medina, and Egypt. He lived in seclusion. He spent months in the minaret of the Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, fasting during the day and weeping in prayer at night. He spent time in Jerusalem, where he meditated in the Dome of the Rock. He traveled to Hijaz, performing Hajj not just as a ritual, but as a plea for purification. For years, he spoke little. He read, he reflected, he remembered Allah. He left behind the world of arguments and entered the world of presence.
Returning with light. Over time, the darkness lifted. What he could not find in books, he found in silence. What no logic could prove, his heart began to know. He returned to writing, but now his pen was soaked in clarity. He wrote his masterpiece, Ihya Ulum al-Din, the revival of the religious sciences. It was not a book of theory, but of transformation. It covered every aspect of life: how to pray with sincerity, how to purify the heart, how to fight arrogance, how to prepare for death, how to love Allah, not with the tongue, but with the soul. He wrote, "The reality of knowledge is to know that which brings you closer to the Creator." He returned to teaching, this time not in the grand halls of Baghdad, but in his modest home in Tus. Students came not to see a celebrity, but to witness a man who had tasted certainty.
The final moments. In 1111 CE, on a quiet morning, Al-Ghazali performed his routine. He rose early. He made wudu. He prayed. He then asked for his white shroud to be brought. He kissed it, placed it over his face, and laid down. A few moments later, his soul departed. He was just 53 years old, but in that time he had lived multiple lives. The philosopher, the jurist, the professor, the wanderer, the lover of God. He was buried in Tus, in silence, the same way he had found peace.
His legacy. Today, over 900 years later, Imam Al-Ghazali remains one of the most influential figures in Islamic history. His books are still read in universities, mosques, and homes across the Muslim world. His thoughts shaped theology, ethics, psychology, and mysticism. He taught the world that true knowledge begins when ego dies, that faith is not memorized, it is realized, and that to truly find God, you may have to do the unthinkable. Walk away from everything. He who knows himself knows his Lord. By Imam Al-Ghazali. 20 Unforgettable Quotes and Lessons by Imam Al-Ghazali. In a world of noise and distraction, his words still echo, timeless, truthful, and transformative. These are the unforgettable teachings of Imam Abu Hamid Al-Ghazali, one of Islam's greatest minds and one of the soul's greatest healers.
1. He who knows himself knows his Lord. To know your Creator, begin by knowing your own heart. Self-awareness is sacred. 2. The tongue is very small and light, but it can take you to the greatest heights, and it can put you in the lowest depths. Watch your words. They build worlds or burn them.
3. Do not think that death is death. It is actually life. Real life begins when the soul is free, not when the body is strong.
4. Knowledge without action is wastefulness. Action without knowledge is foolishness. Wisdom is the harmony of knowing and doing. One without the other is incomplete.
5. Desires make slaves out of kings, and patience makes kings out of slaves. True power is in restraint, not in indulgence.
6. The greatest form of worship is to reflect, thinking deeply, feeling fully, remembering your origin. This, too, is worship.
7. To get what you love, you must be patient with what you hate. Growth always asks something of you. Endure it.
8. The corruption of the soul is worse than the corruption of the body. A wounded heart is harder to heal than a broken bone.
9. What is destined will reach you, even if it is beneath 2 mountains. What is not destined will not reach you, even if it is between your 2 lips. Strive with effort, but rest in trust.
10. A man's faith is not complete until he desires for others what he desires for himself. Real faith is mirrored in compassion. Love for others is love for God.
11. You possess only whatever will not be lost in a shipwreck. Strip everything away. What's left? That is who you are.
12. This world is like a shadow. Chase it and you'll never catch it. Turn your back to it and it follows. Don't run after the world. Run toward the truth.
13. Love for God is not a transaction, it is surrender. Worship not for reward or fear, but for love.
14. If you do not prepare now for the journey of the hereafter, when will you prepare? The clock is ticking. Your soul is the traveler. Start packing.
15. The harm of companionship with the wicked is like sitting near a blacksmith. If the sparks don't burn you, the smoke will. Your company shapes your character.
16. Beware of being deluded by your knowledge. It is not knowledge that saves, but the sincere heart. The mind may be sharp, but only the heart sees God.
17. Sincerity is freeing your acts from the gaze of creation. Do for God what you would never do for applause.
18. The beginning of guidance is to restrain your outward behavior. The end of guidance is to purify your heart. Start with discipline, end with light.
19. You claim to love God, yet you disobey Him. If your love were true, you would have obeyed. Love is proven in action, not just in words.
20. Hearts that are attached to the world are veiled from God. Detachment is not poverty, it is freedom.
These were not just quotes. They were reflections of a man who walked through the fire of doubt and returned with light. May the wisdom of Imam Al-Ghazali guide your path, as it has guided seekers for centuries. And remember, knowing the truth begins with knowing yourself.